China and Russia not an alliance, sorry. September 10, 2025. Despite recent displays of unity like last week's military parade in Beijing, the Russia-China partnership is showing serious economic strain. New data reveals that trade between the two countries plunged in August 2025, the steepest decline since the Ukraine war began. Putin's visit was reportedly an attempt to reverse this trend, with Russian sources admitting that their war effort depends on Chinese support. While China is not a formal military ally and is wary of Russia's actions, it continues to test US sanctions by importing Russian LNG, revealing a complex, transactional relationship, not a monolithic bloc. Are Russia and China in trade trouble? Last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin visited China to participate in a military parade hosted by Chinese President Xi Jinping to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The two leaders were photographed together, along with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who made a rare trip out of North Korea. This led President Donald Trump to declare, in a Truth Social post, "That India and Russia had been lost. Looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have a long and prosperous future together," the president declared last week. Putin declared at the summit held on the eve of the military parade that his ties with his Chinese counterpart were now at an unprecedented level. However, there are indications that all might not be perfect in the Russia-China relationship. Not quite an alliance. A Wall Street Journal report over the weekend noted that while Xi and Putin were chummy at the Beijing summit, China's relations with both Russia and North Korea remain for now far short of a military or political alliance. China's axis with Russia and North Korea is now, at least at the moment, far short of an actual military or political alliance that could impose its will on the Eurasian landmass, the world's wealthiest and most populous region. One expert told the journal that China, which has not fought a war in decades, is more interested in stability. China is very cautious about working with these two countries. Unlike what is depicted in the West as them being allies, China is not in the same camp. Its view of warfare and security issues is very different from Russia and North Korea, Tang Xiaoyang, chair of the Department of International Relations at Tsinghua University, told the newspaper. Trade troubles. There's another indication that the Russia-China alliance isn't quite as rock-solid as it might appear. As reported this week by Euromaidan Press, which cited Reuters, trade between China and Russia has plunged in recent months, with Russian imports from China dropping 17.8% year-over-year in the month of August. In addition, Chinese exports to Russia dropped 16.4%. Reuters called it the steepest monthly decline since Moscow began relying on Beijing as its economic lifeline after invading Ukraine. A Reuters story before the Beijing meeting stated that a goal of Putin's for the visit was to reverse the declining trade trend. Ahead of the visit, officials on both sides are looking into ways to increase trade because the current numbers do not look good. An unnamed person involved in preparations for Putin's trip told Reuters. Another Russian source noted just how important China has been as an ally. Without them, we would not have been able to make a single missile, let alone a drone, and the whole economy would have collapsed long ago, the person told Reuters. If they wanted it, the war would have been over long ago. And another Russian source accused China of not behaving like an ally. By National Security Journal, story by Stephen Silver, September 10, 2025.